Well, we have our nominations now for the 2025 Oscars, and if you watched that ceremony this morning, there were some surprises and, in my opinion, a couple snubs. Not too many, but more surprises this year than I expected. And before we get into talking about the nominees, I do want to get two things out of the way. The first one, Bowen Yang and Rachel Sennott were great together. They were so funny. They had a great dynamic, and they also were very professional when it came to announcing the awards. They knew what they were there to do, and we're celebrating movies here with the Oscars and all of awards season. But I think the biggest takeaway here is let's put those two in a movie together. They would do so well in a comedy together, I think. And the second thing is, while I am talking about snubs, I want to first congratulate everybody in all of these categories. Getting nominated for an Oscar is, something that everybody who works in the film business dreams of. So while I am going to be talking about some snubs, I just want, I want it to be known that I'm not saying that person, on this list doesn't deserve to be there. They do. I can't stress that enough. It's just there were some surprises and a few omissions that I do want to acknowledge. But massive congratulations to everybody in all of these categories on a well-deserved nomination. So that's really all I wanted to cover as far as just preliminary, things go. So let's go ahead and dive into the nominations here. I'm reading them off of The Hollywood Reporter. So let's go ahead and dive in. Grab a cup of coffee. It's early in the morning. And let's talk about some Oscar nominations. Okay. First up is Best Actor in a Supporting Role. I haven't completely looked through how this is ordered. I imagine it's just all over the place. Glad to see Yuri in here for Anora. Kieran Culkin, obviously, is the front runner here to win. Although, at this point, I don't know. A Complete Unknown had a pretty surprising presence, and Edward Norton is in here for his role in that film. Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, really glad to see him in here. There was an article, I think it was last week, kind of talking about, some voters not getting through The Brutalist because of its runtime. And while I don't agree with that, I think if you're a voting member, I don't want to get into that too much. But I do think that that's a bit ridiculous when you're voting for an award show. But whatever. And Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. Again, throughout all of these categories, A Complete Unknown had a surprising presence today. Musical biopics always go over pretty well with the Academy, so I'm not totally surprised. But when Edward Norton's name was announced, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't just a little bit surprised. I really would have loved, I know this was a long shot, but I really would have liked to see Adam Pearson from A Different Man in here. He is so good in that movie. But our front runner here is Kieran Culkin. He's so good in A Real Pain. But I'm, glad to see Guy Pearce in here. He's really, really good. He would definitely be my second pick. And then probably Yuri, for Anora, and then Jeremy Strong, and then Edward Norton, if I had to kind of rank them. Costume design, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. There's no surprise here. I did kind of think that Emilia Perez might sneak in here. I haven't seen the film yet. Not really running to, if I'm being honest. I will watch it, but I've just heard so many mixed things that it's just not at the forefront of my mind. So in costume, really no surprises here. I think this comes down to either Wicked or probably Gladiator. I do like to see Nosferatu here. Nosferatu had a really nice presence here this morning in the kind of some of the smaller categories. Not smaller, but some of the below the line categories. It had a really nice presence here that is very well deserved. But I do think this category is going to come down to Wicked and Gladiator. And I fully expect Wicked to take this win. The costumes in that film really are exceptional. So next up is makeup and hairstyling. A Different Man, Amelia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. My heart wants The Substance to win or A Different Man. But again, I do think this is probably one that's going to come down to Nosferatu. I'm going to say it. I'm calling it now. Nosferatu or Wicked. I will do a video next month as we get a little bit closer to the awards and have a few more award shows behind us, giving my picks for the winners. But as it stands now, with having just gotten these nominations, I'm going to go with either The Substance or Wicked for this category. Best Original Score. First snub here that I kind of want to discuss briefly. The nominees were The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. Where's Challengers? Where? Where is it? Now, again, I haven't heard the score for Amelia Perez, and I feel like that's just, that just kind of feels like the film this year that everybody's not necessarily hating on, but, that feels like the film that everybody's kind of targeting this year. Even the ones who like the movie are still a little surprised at the momentum it has this award season. But where is Challengers here? The Wild Robot 100% deserves to be here. The Brutalist 100%. Conclave, yes. Was Challengers like the 6th nomination here? Like, is Challengers just knocking at that door on that 5th spot? And if it is, I have to assume that Amelia Perez got that 5th spot. These other 4, I'm sure, were firmly in the category. But did Amelia Perez shut out Challengers? I'm surprised. Live action short film. Congrats to all these nominees on these films. These are always so hard for me to come by, so I never get to watch them. So I don't want to speak too much on them just because I don't know too much. Same with animated short film. And eventually the documentary categories. Writing, adapted screenplay, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. I haven't seen Sing Sing yet. It's kind of another one of those films that is a little bit tricky to come by here in the Midwest. They did put it in theaters. Unfortunately, all of the theaters in my area are only doing one show a day, and it's smack in the middle of the afternoon. I have a day job, so it makes it very difficult to go to, but I did really, really want to see it, and I did just finally get around to seeing Nickel Boys, and I now understand the heartbreak that everybody is feeling for that film and its lack of momentum this award season. It was just such it's kind of a hard film to describe, honestly. It's very moving. The performances are very layered and emotional, and the cinematography with the first-person perspective for most of the film. We'll get to that when we get to the cinematography category, but I understand now this kind of disappointment that Nickel Boys just really never caught the momentum that other films have this award season, so I get it. But I do think this is Conclave's award to win. Original screenplay, Anora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5, and The Substance. I like seeing The Substance in here. Man, again, Anora, just another film that never quite caught on this year. I would love to say that this, is going to be one of the awards that Anora wins, but I just don't know. Thankfully, after the Golden Globes, Conclave is now in its own category, so that does help Anora a little bit, but it does have some stiff competition here. I could see this going to The Brutalist. September 5 is a film that I really enjoyed. I thought it was a very well-made film. I don't know how much of an awards contender it is, but I did really enjoy the film, so I'm glad to see it here. But I think this one's going to come down to Honora and The Brutalist. Also, A Real Pain being in here. That screenplay is so good, from Jesse Eisenberg. Actress in a supporting role. This one was a little surprising. Monica Barbero for A Complete Unknown. Ariana Grande for Wicked. Not surprising. Felicity Jones for The Brutalist. Isabella Rossellini for Conclave. And Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. Again, I was a little worried for Felicity Jones after that article last week. I think that article came from Variety about the voters maybe not finishing The Brutalist, which did make me doubt Felicity getting the nomination, because if you've seen the film, you know that she is not in the film except for her voice in the first bit of the film, and then it's after the intermission where she is almost front and center of the film, and she is so good in my goodness, there we go, in her role in the film. So I'm glad to see her on this list. I don't know for this one, it's probably going to be Zoe Saldana, and when it comes time for me to officially pick my winners, predict my winners, she's probably going to be the one that I pick because she's a safe bet. But I could see Felicity Jones sneaking in here and taking that win from her. Original song, Never Too Late, from Elton John, Never Too Late. El Mal, Amelia Perez. Mi Camino, Amelia Perez. Like a Bird from Sing Sing, and The Journey from the 688. So, 4 out of these I would have probably, well, when I say that, where's Kiss the Sky from The Wild Robot? I would have really thought that would be on this list. I have to assume that Never Too Late was the one that took it from Kiss the Sky. I do love Elton John there, so I'm not disappointed to see him on this list. I think we all know this is probably El Mal's award to win. Again, documentary feature film. I don't know too much about these, unfortunately. Same with documentary short films. International feature film. I'm Still Here. The Girl with the Needle. Amelia Perez. The Seed of the Sacred Fig. And Flo. I was surprised that Flo was able to sneak in here and grab a nomination. Glad to see it. Amelia Perez. Do we need to say anything else? It's going to be Amelia Perez. Animated feature film. Flo, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. Now, I will say, I was a little worried about this category, and I was concerned that Inside Out 2 and Moana 2 would get nominated. And I know that might sound crazy, but I thought that it would happen. It was just crazy enough that it very well could have happened here. And if it did, I don't think we'd be looking at Memoir of a Snail on this film, which was one of my favorite on this list. Coffee is still kicking in here. I think if Moana 2 had snuck in here, we would not see Memoir of a Snail on this list, which was so good. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. Again, now that Flo was in international feature film as well, does it hurt its chances here in animated? I don't think so. It got the Globe. I think this one comes down to Flo and The Wild Robot. I could easily, though, see an upset where Vengeance Most Foul sneaks in and grabs that award. Production design. The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. This award, in my opinion, comes down to Conclave or The Brutalist. What they did with the production design in Conclave is, if you really kind of dive into it and do some research, it is so impressive. So I think it's going to really come down to those two. All of these films have such detailed and immersive production design, but I do think it comes down to those two. I do like the Dune Part 2 love in this category, though. Sound, A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. I think this is a category that Dune can win. I really, really do. I think with this lineup of nominees, I think Dune Part 2 is the strongest. I could see Wicked sneaking in here and grabbing another win, because I do think Wicked's going to win some awards. We'll talk about that in a month. But I do think this is a category that Dune Part 2 can win. I really, really do. Best Visual Effects, Alien Romulus, Better Man, glad to see that in there, Dune Part 2, and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. This one is kind of interesting. I think this could be pretty close. And this could swing in three ways, I think. And it's between Alien, Dune, and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. The visual effects in Better Man are great. I don't see it winning. And now that I'm really thinking about it, I think you can almost narrow it down to either Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes or Dune. I think it's really going to come down to those two here. And I like the visual effects in Alien Romulus a lot. I do have a few issues with the visual effects in that film, but I think it does come down to these two films here. And I could see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes taking this win. Oh, I don't know, why is that split like that? I guess Wicked is in this category too. I just didn't see that. Actor in a leading role: Adrian Brody, Timothy Chalamet, Coleman Domingo. There we go. Ray Fiennes and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. This one was surprising. I really did think that the award Sebastian Stan would be nominated for would be A Different Man. But here we are for The Apprentice. He's really good in that film. So it makes sense. But, I mean, we all know this is Brody's award. He's so good. Now, I will say, though, with that controversy surrounding The Brutalist and its use of AI last week, I don't want to get into that in this video. We're talking about the Oscars. I don't think this is going to hurt his chances. I mean, we it's 2025. We really do have to accept that AI is being used, and it's part of every industry now, and it is what it is. Whether you agree with it or not, that's a different conversation. But I don't think it's going to hurt the film or any of the actors getting a potential win here. So I do think this is still Adrian Brody's award here in this category. Actress in a leading role: Cynthia Erivo, Carla Sofia Gascon, Mikey Madison, Demi Moore, and Fernanda Torres. This one's pretty close. A few months ago I would have said Mikey Madison, easy, done. But Demi Moore got that Golden Globe, and so did Fernanda Torres. Right? Did she? I think. Right? Yes. Yes, she did. No. I don't honestly remember. Why am I misremembering that? Anyway, little brain fart there. This is a pretty close race. Again, an upset. I could see Cynthia Erivo sneaking in here. I really, really could. Wicked, we knew when this film came out, it's going to have a presence this award season. And it has an even bigger presence than I thought it would. So I could see it happening. But I think this is still, I'm hanging on to my belief here. I think this is still between Demi Moore and Mikey Madison. Come on, Honora. Directing: Amelia Perez, Honora, The Brutalist, The Substance, A Complete Unknown. God, I mean, how did James Mangold really snuck in here? He is one of my favorite directors. His films are they range in genre, tone. He balances time period so well and making you feel like you're in the time period with films like Walk the Line, A Complete Unknown especially, really planting you in the 1960s folk scene. But I am surprised that he's on this list. I mean, I really wanted Denis Villeneuve in here. I knew it probably wouldn't happen, but I really wanted to see that actually come to fruition. As for this, I mean, directing Brady Corbet for The Brutalist, he directed the hell out of that film. Okay, last one, probably. Best Picture, Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. That was not the last category. Forgot. Wow. I'm Still Here snuck in here for a double nomination in International Feature and Best Picture. Super surprising here. Man, this is close. I do like that Nickel Boys was able to slide in here and get the nomination for Best Picture. Now that I've seen that film, God, it's so good. I mean, come on. The Brutalist. Come on. I do also love seeing Dune Part 2 in here, though, because it really is one of the best films from last year. And cinematography, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Maria, Nosferatu. Wow, there really are more. I just completely... Wow. Yeah. Come on. Where's Nickel Boys? I'm just... That film really, to make that first person perspective work, that cinematography really, really needed to work, and it did. For every bit of that film, I would have really thought it would be here. But Nickel Boys, like I said earlier, just can't catch that wave of momentum. So I do think that The Brutalist is also going to take cinematography. Dune Part 2 very well could slide in there. I would love to see that. Also, Maria getting in on this list. Wow. I mean, the cinematography in that film is very, very good, so it's a deserved nomination, but I wouldn't have expected it. Same with Nosferatu. Okay. Best film editing. Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, and Wicked. I know there were some doubts about The Brutalist getting nominated for editing when it's such a long film, but the way it is edited is actually very, very impressive. I cannot wait to watch that film again and really now take in each different department that worked so hard on this film. I mean, the first time I was just in awe of everything I was watching, and I can't wait to go back and rewatch it and really take in the cinematography, the editing, the performances, the production design, and really just pay attention more to all of that now that the big wow factor is out of the way of that initial watch and being just completely amazed at everything on screen. Anora as well. The editing in Anora, man, is so good, especially when it takes the turn that it does and shifts into the back bit of the film. It is very frantic throughout, and so I'm glad to see Anora on here. I'm not 100% sure yet on this category. I don't want to say yet, just because I need to either watch one of these films for the first time or rewatch them. I plan to be doing that over the next month and a week or so month and like a week and a half before the Oscars. So I do plan to rewatch the films that I have seen, watch some for the first time, especially if I can. If it gets to a theater near me, I'm Still Here or I'll just catch that after the fact. And I will be watching Amelia Perez. I'm going to do it. It's going to happen. But yeah, those are our nominees for this year's Academy Awards. What were some of your favorite nominations or some of the snubs that you thought should have been on some of these categories? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for sticking with me as we go through these nominations and all of my brain farts and everything. I really do enjoy just uncut videos, because I try to leave in some of the mistakes that I make in my videos because I think it's, I don't like having a completely polished video. Because it doesn't feel right. I like kind of a more realistic approach to these videos, kind of like we're just sitting here talking about film. In our daily conversations, we're always having brain farts and all of that. So I like to incorporate that into my videos. And when I knew that I would be doing a video on these Oscar nominations, I figured I would just hit the camera, hit record on the camera, and go from there. So mistakes and all, thanks for sticking with me as we talk about these categories. Again, what were some of your favorite nominations? What were some of the snubs, in your opinion? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more film content from me. I will have one more video coming out today, Thursday, if you're watching this the day this video goes live, which I'm sure you are because Oscar nominations were just about an hour ago. So I'll see you later today and throughout the weekend with a couple more videos. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.